Welcome to the Healing Power of Plant Foods cooking class. So happy to have you ladies here with me tonight. I'm April. Who has not, have you been here before?
Yes, but it's been a long time.
Okay, so you've all been here before, but some it's been a little while. Here comes one more. Well, welcome. I'm so happy you're here tonight. I'm excited about a holiday menu. I love to do holiday food, and it's the time of year when we put on the most weight as a nation. I mean, we put like what, 5 to 10 pounds over the holidays is pretty average. And I say we don't need to go there. We can eat healthy and eat delicious and feel satisfied and have energy to play with our kids and grandkids after the dinner. And we can strengthen our immune systems and keep us really healthy that way, so that we don't fall sick to all the bugs and stuff that are going around this time of year, and just enjoy and taste good and not put on the weight. And it's just a win-win-win situation, and it tastes good as well. I have a passion for plant foods. I have a passion for nutrition, and they just go together. When you're eating lots of plant foods, I call this class the Healing Power of Plant Foods, because there truly is healing power in plant foods. And I promise I am not going to burn cauliflower tonight because it seems like every time I do my holiday class, I've got so much cauliflower going on, I end up burning something, but I think we're going to be good. Don't let me burn that. In fact, I might just go ahead and take it off, because I think it's tender. So we got a lot going on tonight. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. You've all been to my class. I've done my intro before. You probably don't remember, but you probably don't care anyway. You just want to start cooking, right? So that's what we'll do. We're going to do a holiday or Thanksgiving Chic Pea Loaf, cauliflower mashed potatoes, a pumpkin pie with a cream on top, and also cranberry relish salad. Or cranberry relish. And we're going to get started with that loaf, because that takes a little while to cook. We got to get that in the oven. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. We're going to start off with an onion, and I believe your recipe says a medium onion, and you can use whatever size onion you want. If you don't like onion very much, you can use a small onion. If you love onion, you can use a big onion, and I have a tendency to use a large onion. I was going to actually change that, but honestly, it doesn't really matter, just whatever you like. So, and I just use a regular yellow onion. I usually go with the most economical, unless we're looking for a specific flavor. Like a sweet onion sometimes is good to use if you've got kind of a something that's got a little bit of an undertone sweetness. So this onion, it has got some powerful organosulfur compounds, and we experience those every time we cut this baby open, right? Our eyes start tearing up, but that doesn't happen until we cut it, and that's because when you cut and chop and you break open the cell wall of that plant, it makes those compounds activate, and they create more compounds, and that's what makes you starting to cry. Those are sulfur compounds. They're powerful against cancer, powerful against inflammation. When we're talking inflammation, we're talking decrease in all kinds of diseases, especially heart disease, diabetes, any autoimmune issues, inflammatory issues. This is a Vidalia Chop Wizard. I know you guys have probably seen it before. It's a great little tool. Love it. Especially when you have a strong onion that might make you cry. No more tears when you got this thing going, hopefully. Let's see, we got to get that burner going here. And I have a tendency to cook a little bit on high, because I like things to cook quickly, and I don't mind monitoring it a little bit. Oh. So we're going to go ahead and put our onion in our pan. And as you probably know and remember, I don't use oil ever in my cooking. Oil is 120 calories of pure fat, highest calorie, lowest nutrient food that we consume, increases risk of heart disease, increases inflammation in the body. It damages the endothelial cells that line your arteries that produce a gas called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the most powerful blood vessel dilator. You want your blood vessels to dilate when you go out for a run, or you're chasing your grandkids around the couch, or out playing ball, going up a flight of stairs, and your heart rate goes up and your body demands more blood. So your arteries need to expand to allow for more blood flow, and they expand very easily when that nitric oxide is being produced in your body. When you eat a meal that's high in oil, olive oil, any kind of oil, it slows down that nitric oxide production. In fact, it pretty much stops it. And so your blood vessels become stiff, easier for cholesterol to build up on them. That nitric oxide keeps your blood vessels like Teflon. We all know what Teflon's like. I'm using a little bit of that tonight. We want our blood to slide around just like on a Teflon pan. When you put food on there, it slides around really nicely, and we want our blood vessels the same way. And I have no need for oil in here. This is a pretty decent pan. It's a stainless steel pan, which is helpful. If your pans tend to stick, just add a little bit of water, which I'm going to eventually do. All right, I'm also going to add to this onion my garlic. And you know what? I just threw my garlic in with my cauliflower, and I wonder why I did that, because we normally put garlic in with cauliflower. No, we don't. Oh, wait a minute. Well, I don't know. But I'm trying to think what I did with my other garlic. Oh, I put some in there, and where did I put the other garlic? I mashed up a bunch of different garlic. I hope I didn't put it both in here. Well, I'm going to dig a little bit out just so I have some garlic to go in my loaf. Not that you really care. Yeah, I've got garlic in my mashed potatoes, and I've got garlic in my loaf. Okay, there's not a whole lot going in there, but anyway, that's okay. We'll have plenty of garlic in the potatoes. So we're just going to kind of saute that around. I'm going to go ahead and chop my carrot that's going in the loaf. Carrots are a little bit tricky with this chopper. You've got to cut them down. I just slice them lengthwise like that. And this is a medium carrot. You can put, this is a little bit on the large side, but it doesn't really matter. This chopper works really nice with baby carrots, if you use baby carrots. But I prefer the full-size carrots. Carrots are high in beta-carotene, but so is leafy green vegetables. People say, oh, my eyes are going bad, I need to eat more carrots. Well, greens actually have just as much beta-carotene as carrots, but because of the other compounds in the greens that make it green, you don't see the orange. Greens are actually high in all nutrients, all kinds of nutrients. In fact, you could pretty much live on greens. They're so nutrient dense. All right, and then we're going to put in some celery. And I'm just going to slice my celery because I like it sliced in this dish. I like it. This dish kind of reminds me of stuffing. It's got a little bit of a stuffing flavor, but it's more hearty and more nutrient rich because it's got beans in it. Hello. Hello. Celery is really high in minerals, actually, that are super good for you, of course. We'll go ahead and add that. In fact, it's a good way to balance out blood sugar. I've had some issues with not a whole lot of fruit, but my fruit, I have to be really careful with fruit. And it seems like when I started adding I was doing celery juice for a while, it really calmed down that sugar effect. In fact, I had a friend who was telling me about it, and she said that she was having some terrible blood sugar issues to where she ended up in the hospital a few times. She started doing the celery juice thing, and she says that she could, if she was having a serious reaction to too much sugar, and we're talking like fruit sugar, not necessarily white sugar, she could do 2 cups of celery juice, and it would really calm that down. She says celery juice saved her life. And I did notice benefits when I'm not doing it anymore, but I kind of got tired of it. I did it for a few months, and I actually really liked it. It was kind of a nice, refreshing morning drink to get you going, but I kind of got tired of juicing, every morning and cleaning the juicer. But I felt I definitely got some benefits from it. Okay, now I'm getting a lot of moisture in here, and so I'm not really needing to add any water yet. It's getting a little bit brown on the side. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but that's actually caramelizing of the onion, and it's going to make, when I put water in that, it's going to break that off and bring that flavor into the dish. I'm going to go ahead and chop these mushrooms up. We want to add mushrooms to our diet as much as, like on a daily basis if possible. Mushrooms have powerful aromatase inhibitors that keep estrogen levels low. We want to keep estrogen levels low. We women have chances of breast cancer, but we don't have to worry about that if we're eating a very health-promoting diet and getting mushrooms in. Studies out of China showed that women who ate 1 button mushroom a day, and these are button mushrooms, just the white button mushrooms, had a 64% less risk of breast cancer. And when they were drinking green tea as well, it bumped it up to 89%. I just added a little bit of water in there just to keep that from sticking. It was starting to get brown and stick a little bit. So it's good to add these mushrooms in, and we want a couple of cups at least. I usually just put in like this whole container because it's close enough, and you can't have too many mushrooms. They stimulate immune function. So we want to increase our immune system for the cold weather. They have 22 proteins that lower cholesterol and blood pressure at the same time. They are anti-angiogenic, means that they keep tumors from spreading to other parts of the body. If you have tumors, and we all do, they're going in and out of our body every day. Luckily and hopefully, we have a strong immune system that kills them, repairs them, gets them out of your body. Mushrooms will help with that. They function like probiotics, really good for the gut, for building up your good microbiome. I missed one mushroom.
It's in the black.
We don't want to miss the mushroom. Oh. You love them? Yes, I love mushrooms too. Let's see, am I going to need this chopper again? I don't think so. Nope, I'm not going to need it for that. We're using the chopper for that. The food processors. But you never know. Something might come up. So don't put it away. Oh, by the way, this is Jan. She's my lifesaver.
Slice and dice and do dishes.
She gets me out of here before 8 o'clock, whereas otherwise I would be more like 10. So, okay, we're going to take our parsley. Calls for a 1/4 cup of parsley. And I don't measure, but I just kind of estimate. You can go a little bit more on parsley, a little bit less. And I don't really care if I get a little bit of that stem in there. I'm not too concerned about that. I just chop it. Parsley is the only leafy green we're getting in tonight, which is totally weird for me because I get leafy greens, in fact, probably several of them in every class I do. We are doing lots of cauliflower tonight though, but leafy greens are the healthiest foods on the planet. We need to be eating them every day. In fact, our diet should be, I don't want to say based on leafy greens, but have that as, Dr. Furman has that at the base of his pyramid, leafy green vegetables. We're going to throw those right in there with that, along with our seasonings, our dry herbs. And we've got, for our dry herbs, we have got onion powder, garlic powder, sage, thyme, rosemary, and then we've got our parsley in there. We're using fresh parsley just because that's so easy to get. You can use fresh herbs with this if you want, of course. I tend to want to, I'm a little bit of a lazy cook, and so I like to go as easy as possible. And economical as well. Dried herbs are a little bit more expensive. So we're just going to put those in, get them cooking. We are going to put this in the oven along with our other foods that are going in this. And we'll move on to that. Let's see, I don't need that anymore, I don't think. Okay, so in this pan right here, in this bowl, I have got chickpeas. Beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the healthier you will be. Actually, not the more you eat, the more often you eat them. And what we're going to do, we're going to use our pastry cutter. Much better use of a pastry cutter than pastries is to just chop these beans a little bit. Get them broken down. Legumes, beans, peas, and lentils. They're 20 to 37% protein. They're high in complex carbohydrates. We need carbohydrates. We want carbohydrates to give us energy. Low carb diets mean higher risk of severe COVID and many other diseases. We want to eat high carbohydrate diet, but we want to eat complex carbohydrates. Whole food carbohydrates, beans, peas, lentils, whole grains, intact whole grains, vegetables, fruits, of course. Okay, just briefly chop those a little bit. I oftentimes will put everything in and then chop, but I found it's much easier to do it this way. Beans are high in fiber. We need more fiber. Stop asking where you're getting your protein. Ask where you're getting your fiber. Make sure you're getting lots of fiber in your diet. You got to feed those your gut microbes. They love lots of fiber. When you feed them fiber, they feed you back with short-chain fatty acids that decrease risk of all disease and that just build up your gut and make it so it digests food really well and makes you happy. Okay, we are going to add in, we've got everything in here, chickpeas. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add our rolled oats. 1 cup of rolled oats. And we're going to add in some tamari soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of tamari. You can use Bragg's Aminos. You can use regular soy sauce. And we're going to put in some 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And I need a little spoon for that. You know what, I'm going to actually put that tomato paste in there, and that way it'll get, because of the heat, it'll get it dispersed much easier. And then we want a tablespoon of brown mustard. Let's see, 1 tablespoon? Yes, 1 tablespoon, spicy brown mustard. I think I'm going to go over here with this one as well. And I believe that's it. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and stir that all around. Yes, we're going to add that. We are going to add that once we put everything in the pan here. Thank you for mentioning that. You kind of got to keep an eye on me because sometimes I forget stuff, kind of like that garlic. I don't know what happened to that other garlic. It's a mystery. I get talking and I forget what I'm doing. I hope I didn't put it in the pumpkin pie. Something with the pumpkin pie. No, I'm sure I didn't. Okay. Those veggies are good and cooked. And they're going to cook some more in the oven, so we don't need to worry too much about that. I need a big spoon. Okay, we're just going to mix those oats right in there with that tamari soy sauce. We're going to mix in a 1/2 cup of pumpkin seeds, and you can use walnuts or pecans, chopped walnuts or pecans. I find I get people in my classes that have nut allergies. So I like to, although I am using some nuts tonight, I do like to use seeds when I can. And since this is the main dish, then I want to make sure everybody can have some. And the pumpkins just, I don't know, they're just a really nice fall. Of course, nuts in general are a great fall, winter food. A little bit higher in fats, which we might need a little bit more during the winter, but I don't know if you want to stay a little warmer. Although I've never found that to necessarily be any helpful when I've put on a little bit of weight. I'm just as cold as I always am. All right, so we're going to go ahead and mix this in with our lentils, or our chickpeas and oats and all that other stuff. And there is that. That's really hot. Oh, 620, that's a good time. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add some, we want to add some salt to this. I am going to add about a teaspoon or so. It's got that tamari in there, which is also a high sodium food. Oh, and then we want to put our sweet potato in there. So we've got 2 cups of sweet potato, and this is the yam. Technically it's a sweet potato and not a yam, but most people call them yams, so we'll call it a yam. They just say, whoever they is, say that you can't, the real sweet potatoes aren't grown in the States, or they're not, you can't buy them in the States. They're actually the sweet potatoes. But anyway, not that it matters. I am going to use that actually, I think, just to mash a little bit. That'll kind of help that get that incorporated a little bit better. Beans help to stabilize blood sugar, lower blood pressure and cholesterol. They increase fat burning and decrease fat storage after a meal. How great is that? And that's because of that resistant starch. It moves through your body undigested, and then it feeds your gut microbes, so you're not absorbing all the calories from beans. There's powerful anti-cancer benefits. There was like a 12-year study, and they watched people for 6 years in their bean consumption. They watched the amount of beans they were eating, and those who were eating a cup of beans twice a week had half the risk of colon cancer. And colon cancer is our #1 cancer killer in this country. So beans are good for that. And if we were eating them every day, a half a cup or a cup every day in our salad, and if you have a hard time with them, start out slow, tablespoon in your salad, work your way up, just a little bit here and there. And the reason some people have a hard time with them is because they don't eat them enough. Our gut is weak and it can't handle the fibers from them, because they are a very dense fiber that is hard to break down for some people. All right. So there is our loaf ingredients, and we're going to go ahead and put that in the pan. Now, when I do this, sometimes when I do this, if I'm making this for a dinner where I'm serving a lot of people, which I am tonight, but I put it in. We're not going to have time to do what I normally do. I have parchment paper in the bottom here, and then when the loaf is cool, I'll flip it out on a platter and top it with the gravy that we're going to make tonight. And that's a nice presentation. Looks really nice. But this is going to come out of the oven like literally right when we're probably going to eat it. So, because it takes about 40 minutes to cook. So, so it's not going to be set up like a nice loaf. It's going to be more like a casserole, but you're still going to get the flavor of it. I used to make this like one ahead of time and then make one in class and then have the one to serve. And it was just like, that's just way too much work. I end up with way too much loaf that I can't even eat. So, because it's just myself and my husband he'll eat. He's pretty good to eat stuff, but not as good as I'd like him to be. Okay, and then we just press all this down in the pan. And you can do this in a smaller pan and make it deeper. I usually do this a little bit larger pan. I don't know what size I've got on here, 9.5 by 13. This one's a little bit bigger. And I find last time I did this without the parchment paper, I was wondering if it would stick, because normally I use parchment paper. But when I've gone to serve it without flipping it, and I go to serve it, that parchment paper's under there, and it's kind of a mess. So I didn't want to do it that way. But last week when I did a class, I did it this way, and it's a little crusty on the bottom, but it was really great. It didn't stick hardly at all. So we're going to go ahead and put that in 375 degrees. Uncovered, I believe, for the first 20 minutes.
Outside of timer.
Baking pan.
Timer for 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah, for the first 20 minutes, and then we're going to cover it after it's cooked a little bit we're going to just cover it with a cookie sheet. Well, actually, we'll cover it with some tin foil. I think they've got some foil down there. Okay, so we have got, we're going to do our pie so we can get that in the oven, although we do have a pie that you guys will be eating that I already made ahead of time because we don't want a hot pie. Hot pumpkin pie just isn't very good, I don't think. It's hard to eat anyway, too. What?
It does sound odd.
Yeah. If anything, I like it cold. I like it in the fridge. Okay, so we're going to start out with our crust. And I am a huge fan of desserts, but I am all about making them whole food desserts. I don't like to use any white sugar. In fact, I don't think I've had a stitch of white sugar for I don't know how many years, which is, I know, very weird. But my body just does not like white sugar. My back starts to hurt. I get headaches. Not a good thing. So, and white sugar is very addictive, as I'm sure anybody who's eaten a lot of it and has a hard time getting off of it knows. So, okay, so we're going to start off with a banana. And the trick of not having a strong banana flavored is not doing the really spotted bananas like they often tell you to do when you're making a dessert and using bananas. You want to use your spotted bananas. They have the most sugar, but they have the most banana flavor as well. And we don't necessarily, and you know, if you're making like banana cookies, of course that's great, or banana bread, of course that's great. But if you're making something that you don't necessarily want to taste like banana, then you just want to use a more yellow, even a little bit green banana. And we're just using this mainly kind of for moisture and binding and a little bit of sweet. And then we're going to put in some dates, and we've got 4 or 5 dates in here that are soaking in a quarter cup of water. And dates are a whole food sweetener. I use a lot of dates in all of my dessert recipes. Whole food, all the parts of the plant are there. Nothing's processed, nothing's taken out except for the pit. And last night when I was making the pie, there was a pit in in fact, I'm finding one right there. Oh, maybe not. You got to give them a little squeeze. Well, I don't know. Is that a pit? It's feeling like a pit. It's a little bit hard, so we're going to pull it out. Anyway, I squeeze. Yeah.
Where are you?
I am on the pie crust.
There's no banana.
There's no pie crust. There's no pie crust.
There is, but there's no banana. Where's the banana?
Oh, goodness. There's no banana? Yeah, there is.
Where?
Unless is it not on your recipe?
No.
Oh, that's weird. I wonder how I managed that. Huh?
And there's 12 dates, not 5 dates.
Oh, you've got a different recipe. I must have copied and pasted that from another class. Yeah, jot down what I'm doing. 1 banana. That must be the. Is there nuts in it as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
This recipe shows 12 dates.
Oh,
Pecans,
that's
oats, and
the
banana.
wrong crust. That's the wrong crust recipe. That's another crust recipe. Go for it and try that one if you like a really rich nut date crust. That's a great crust recipe. This one's lower in fat, a little bit healthier, and I actually like it better. It holds together better. So anyway, 1 banana, 5 dates that have been soaking in a quarter cup of water. Sorry about that, you guys. Although you got a bonus recipe. You got 2 crusts. And then we're going to go with a teaspoon of vanilla. And I just kind of guess on that. And that's it for this. And just grind that up. What's that?
That might be in one of your books.
You know what I did is I copied and pasted it from a previous class a couple years ago. Okay, and then after that we're going to go ahead and add our oats, and we're going to add 1 2/3 cup of rolled oats to this. Now the reason I don't put this all in together at once is because I want to keep those oats somewhat whole and not broken down into flour. It's going to make it easier when we're spreading it around the bottom of our pan. And 1 2/3 cup of oats. Yep. Oh, it's on. So we're just going to briefly chop it. And when you keep your grains more whole, they are better for you. They don't spike your blood sugar as much. The more you grind down a grain, and grains are good for you. You want to eat whole grains on a regular basis. In fact, every day. Grains are super good for your gut. They're good for reducing risk of diabetes and heart disease. Help you to lose weight as well. Help you to fill up. They're very filling. But we want to keep them as whole as we can. So we're just going to briefly chop those, kind of pulse. And when they're a little bit more whole too, they're going to be easier to spread around the bottom of our crust pan. So we're just going to dump this out into our pie pan here. Nope, no nuts in this crust. That was another thing. I'm going to use that again for the salad. So that's another thing I like about this recipe. I developed a sensitivity to nuts, and then I was getting a lot of people in my classes that had sensitivities to nuts. So I was excited to try a new way of doing crusts, trying to figure out a new way of doing crusts, and I really liked this one. So in fact, this right here makes a really nice cookie. Add some raisins, add a few healthy chocolate chips if you want, if you can handle that. Personally, I can't handle that kind of goodness when it's in my house. If it's in the house, it's in my mouth. Way too often. So I leave those out, those rich things out. But yeah, this dough makes really nice cookies. So we're just going to press this around the bottom of the pan. Okay, and then we're going to take, I like to do this with my hands because I can feel how level it is. And I just push it up on the side of my pan, just kind of move it around, push it up on the side. Brenda Davis, she's a registered dietitian. She has what she calls the high grain hierarchy, the whole grain hierarchy. And it's a scale, like a list. And at the top of that list is your whole intact grains, actually sprouted. She likes the sprouted grains. And then your whole intact grains. And then your cut grains, like cut oats, like for steel cut oats. And then next is, I think, your rolled grains. And then next is puffed grains, and then next is like flour made from those grains. And the lower you get on that scale, the more, not as healthy they are. The more your body's absorbing those sugars from those grains and causing your blood sugar to spike and all that. So best to do your grains whole. Okay. This crust is going to go in the oven first for 20 minutes. We're going to put this down here in the bottom oven. And we can set this. We'll go ahead and set, let's see, kitchen timer for lower oven is 20 minutes. Start. At 300. Yes, 300 degrees. We want to cook that at a little bit lower temperature. We're just kind of drying it out mainly. We are going to crisp it up a little bit too. But okay, let's do our cranberry. Are these? Those are still good and hot. I like to do all this stuff last. Huh? Oh yeah, that would probably be good. So I'm going to go ahead and do our salad. Do we have this thing done? Oh, hello, you guys. I need to do the pie first, the inside of the pie. So we'll just, in fact, I could have done that before you washed it, but Although, you know what, actually, let's do the salad. We'll get the salad out of here into a bowl, and then we'll use this for the pie, because that crust is going to be in for a little bit. Okay, I got it together here. Okay, so we're going to take our apple. First, I'm going to get some gloves and my knife. Actually, I'll probably just use a paring knife, because that might, I've got one over there. Yeah.
Where you want this cover?
Yeah. All right. So nice big apple. And this is got cranberries in it, raw cranberries. We're not adding any sugar, but we are adding some dates. So I like to use a sweet apple. And this is, I believe, a Braeburn, which is, it's kind of sweet and tart, kind of a combination. But Fuji's are really nice for this. These are good. I mean, any kind of apple works. But just keep in mind, you don't want to use a Granny Smith unless you like tart, because Granny Smith apples, of course, are. You could use a Granny Smith apple and then use more dates. And we're just going to slice this apple and put it right into our food processor here. An apple a day really does keep the doctor away, by the way. People who eat an apple a day have less oral, breast, colon, kidney, and ovarian cancers. 20% lower risk of breast cancer. 24% lower risk of breast cancer. It stops all stages of tumor growth and stops tumors from spreading to other parts of the body. And the most powerful part of the apple that does that is in the skin. So we want to get organic apples if we can, or wash them really good. I hate that wax that's put on apples. I don't know if they still do that. I haven't bought conventional apples for a long time, but I like to get the organic. I find some good priced organic at Natural Grocer. Usually they've got at least one apple on sale, and that's the one I buy. So, because they can get up there pretty high. Okay, so 1 large apple, a cup of cranberries. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of walnuts, so we do have some nuts in here, and we can go pecans on this as well, or instead. And then we're going to do some dates again, just a 1/4 cup. Well, actually, we're going to do, let's see, we've got about five dates right there.
Did you soak those?
I did not. We're going to, I don't want to blend these down to cream. I just want to keep them, I just want some chunk, and so we don't need to soak those. And we're just pulsing. We want to keep, this is kind of a relish, we want a relish texture. And I'm just going to scrape down the sides a little bit. I love this salad so much. I could just eat it just for breakfast. In fact, I used to. And because of my obsession with greens, I hate to even admit this, I used to put just a little bit of spinach in with that, because I used to do green smoothies in the morning, and then when I did this salad, when the holidays were coming and I was making this salad, I was like, I want that for breakfast. So I'd throw in a handful of spinach, and it actually made a nice little green fleck in it, and it looked really pretty, and it was fine. I didn't put enough to make it nasty. Okay, that's all this salad is. Super easy. And I hope you love it as much as I do. And the cranberries, of course, super high in antioxidants. By the way, antioxidants equal anti-aging, and we're all looking for that, right? And the reason they do that is because they protect your cells and keep them from aging, keeping you younger. We get cell damage every day. Scientists believe that we get 10,000 oxidative hits a day from different compounds in the environment that are unhealthy toxins, You know what? I'm going to go ahead and have you rinse that out. I'm going to do my pie. Now you can, of course, this did not make a whole lot. I think it'll be perfect for the amount of people that we have. But if you want to, if you're serving it for a big dinner, of course, you would just double that. I find people don't have a tendency to eat a ton of this, so I don't usually make a lot, but it's just delicious. Okay, we're going to do our pie. So we're going to do our, the inside of our pie. So we'll bring, let's see what we've got back here. Oh, that's, okay, never mind. So in our pie, we're going to have pumpkin, of course. I've got 2 cups of canned pumpkin. And I buy the large cans and then just half them because they're a little bit more economical. And here I've got some more dates, and I've got these dates soaking in 1 1/4 cups of almond milk. And you can use oat milk, you can use rice milk, you can use any kind of milk you want. I encourage you to go with plant milks and not dairy milk. But I've got those dates, 25 dates, soaking in that, and so they'll be nice and soft, and they're going to grind up really well. So we'll go ahead and put our pumpkin in here.
So you use 2 cups of pumpkin?
Oh, sorry, 1 3/4 cup of pumpkin. Sorry, yeah. That's how much is in 1 small can. 1 3/4 cup. You could go with 2 cups, and that would be just fine. What? It probably is. I keep jars. Really? Is that what is Nally? Oh, really? That's funny.
Nally, I recognize that.
Yeah, Nally. It was called Nally.
Oh, wow.
That's where they made it. You would drive by and you could see all the pickles and you could see the big pickle vats and everything.
Oh.
I don't know what it was. And then they turned it into a pot farm.
A pot farm? Oh, that's nice.
You could smell that too.
Makes more money.
Yeah.
Okay, to our pumpkin, we're going to add, I like to put the seasonings after the pumpkin and then this on top, because when you go start this, it jerks it and it kind of goes up into the lid, it puffs up. So I like to put the spices next. So we've got 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cloves. Did I get them all? I think so. And then we'll go ahead and put our dates that have been soaking in the almond milk. And I like to let them soak. I usually let them soak overnight and just have them in the fridge. It's a good idea to pull them out a little bit before. If you have them in the fridge a little bit before you want to do it. The pie I did last night that we're having, it was cold when I grinded it up. So it had a little bit of a hard time. The dates and things it was cold. So it's just easier.
Enough almond milk in it just to cover them?
No, I put 1 1/4 cups.
Okay.
And then we'll go with some vanilla again, about a teaspoon. And then we're just going to grind this all up. Now I used to do that in a blender. Your recipe may say to use a blender, and you can use a blender if you've got a good blender like a Vitamix or a Blendtec. That will work just great. In fact, it'll probably, well, it will. It'll blend it down creamier than it will in a food processor. The reason I use this, I used to use the blender, but it's really hard on the blender. I mean, it feels like it's hard on the blender. This thing will blend up rocks, I swear. It's a really great blender. But I have to get my tamper and really work it and help it along, kind of. It's just so much easier in here. The benefit of doing it in here, like I say, is creamier. Another problem with it is it's so narrow at the bottom, it's a little bit hard to get everything out. And I'm a little obsessed with not wasting anything, so I can get everything out pretty much when I do it in here. And it turns out, I think, just as good. Not quite as creamy, but it's still really good. sure it's hot. Okay, that's going to be good enough. I'm going to just move this to the back until that crust comes out and move the blender over here. And we'll do our mashed potatoes. Who's had mashed potatoes that were made out of cauliflower? Just straight cauliflower. Did you like it? Okay. They are, I think they're pretty good, but they're not mashed potatoes. It's blended cauliflower, basically, and I think it's good. Would your family, your normal family members, would they be okay with just the cauliflower? That was my issue, is I have normal family, and I like to, I do like to do dinner and stuff, and I wanted to come up with kind of a happy medium, so I did the cauliflower and potato combination, which worked great. Love it. So we're going to take our blender jar, and I've got our cauliflower already steamed because, like I say, when I do this class with so much cauliflower going on, I have a tendency to burn something. So I've got my gravy cauliflower here and my my mashed potato cauliflower here. So we're not doing the full 3 pounds of potatoes because that makes a lot of potatoes with the cauliflower and 2 heads of cauliflower. We're just doing like 1.5, like 2 pounds of potatoes. So what I'm going to do is I've got my cauliflower in here, and we're going to use a slotted spoon to get that out. And we're just going to transfer this cauliflower. I think we're going to put it all. Sometimes I'll do, in fact, your recipe I think says part of the cauliflower and then mash the rest of the cauliflower with the potatoes, but I'm just going to put all this in here. And you can do it either way. My worry is the potatoes would be too wet, but we won't have that problem because this cauliflower is nice and pretty dry. It's been cooked and it's been setting for a little bit, so the steam's come off it, so it's not a wet cauliflower, which is helpful. Okay, and then to this we want to add, that's my gravy and that's my gravy. Oh, we want to add, we're going to add some more nuts. We want to make this, our traditional mashed potatoes have butter and cream and are very creamy and delicious and yummy, and of course, if we want to satisfy that palate of our family, we want to add some fats to this, and we want to keep them healthy fats, whole food fats. So I'm going to add some cashews, and this is just a half a cup of cashews. The full recipe, I do a whole cup. You could do a little bit more because we're not going completely half on this, but I just have a half a cup here, which will be just swell, just great. And I've lost my tamper to my blender, my tamper thing that you push down, so I'm going to have to work with this just a little bit with my spatula.
Because you've left it here?
I know. I don't know if I left it here, or I did a class for a lady at her house, and I reached out to her, and she was going to check and let me know, but I may have left it at her house. So you can buy them just by themselves, but I'm sure they're like, ridiculously expensive. But that's okay. I may have to add a little bit of water, but I'm going to hopefully not have to add any water. Will you just cover it? There's some.
Okay, should we turn this off? I think it's done. I
You
didn't
think?
hear my timer yet.
You know what? Let's go ahead and
Really?
it's how I don't think
I
we're
set it
that
for
far.
20.
I don't think we're that far past. We put it
Okay.
in about 6:25.
How much longer?
So I would say, well, no, it's been 20 minutes.
Okay.
But I would say just cover it for another.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna cover it for another another 25 minutes. Yeah.
Oh.
Right there. Okay. So I'm just going to use my spatula and just kind of push this down. And hopefully this will work. We might have to put, like I said, we may have to put a little bit of water in here. but there's still some moisture in that cauliflower, so. No, we'll need a little water. And you should never do this while your blender's going, because inevitably you will chop off your this thing. Okay, that's doing pretty good. We'll go one more round here. So what we're trying to get here is a good, nice cream to mash in with those potatoes, of course. Okay, let's try one more with that. Great. I knew that was going to happen. Good thing I had that lid on. Okay. I think we're in good shape. Just want to make sure there's no nut chunks in there. That's looking pretty good. Okay. Don't you love that when you forget to turn the blender back down from high and then it just, poof. Yeah. I do that way too often. Okay. So what we're going to do from here, set that back over there. Oh, that's empty actually. Okay, we got our potatoes in here. Now these potatoes, of course, I've cooked ahead of time. I took my chopper and just cut the potato in half and put them through my chopper. Way easy to cut potatoes, and they cook really quickly, like within 5, 6, 7 minutes. So I've got all those cooked already. So we're going to go ahead and just add our cauliflower to our potatoes. I left the skin on the potatoes. Yes, thanks for bringing that up. I use Yukon Gold potatoes, which makes a great mashed potato. Super creamy. They're just really great to use. I hardly ever use russets anymore. And as far as nutrient density wise, I think they're pretty comparable. We're not really looking for nutrient density in a potato. We're looking for some good carbohydrates. Texture, I love potatoes. We just make sure we get our leafy green salad in every day, and some raw veggies. In fact, I'm not using any raw veggies in this meal tonight. So when you're doing your holiday meal, make sure you've got a nice big salad or green salad. And we are doing, huh?
How's our pie crust looking?
Is it 20 minutes? Is that the timer for that? Yeah, go ahead and pull it out. 20 minutes is always perfect. Is always good. Okay. And let the cameraman get a good shot of that. It's a nice looking pie crust, just a little bit brown. And when you cook it at 300, the lower temperature, it just works a lot better. It would get too brown with the higher. Okay, we're going to take our potato mashers, and I usually do beaters. I forgot my beaters, so I might use Jan's strong arms, and she can mash these potatoes for me. I'm going to do gravy, and it's going to be cauliflower gravy, so we'll just do it from that. So, yeah, if you want to give those a good mashing, get your workout tonight.
Sure.
Okay, now we're going to do our gravy, and we're going to kind of do the same thing. So we're going to have to work with this. It's going to be a cauliflower gravy, and again, I've got this cauliflower already steamed a little bit. So we're just going to go ahead and add this to our blender jar. And that did have a little bit of moisture still in with it. We might have to put those on a little bit of heat when you get them done, because they might be a little bit not so hot. Although we'll get this.
I think I just splattered my face with it.
Okay, so to this, again, we're going to add some fats to our gravy. And our gravy is going to be easier to blend this because we're adding more water to this. So I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds really work nicely for creaming as well. The cashews make really great for desserts, and then the mashed potatoes, they kind of need those cashews. You could do the sunflower seeds though. And then we're also going to use some seasonings for our gravy. And we've got chicken style gravy, chicken style seasoning, which is above the chicken style. No, where is it? It's on the back of your recipe sheet. Chicken seasoning, 1/3 cup of nutritional yeast, onion powder, salt, basil, garlic powder, oregano, turmeric, and you just grind that up in a blender or a food processor, or actually a blender or a coffee grinder. I usually don't do a 1/3 cup of nutritional yeast. Are you guys familiar with nutritional yeast? It is a cheesy flavored substance that's grown on molasses. It's high in B vitamins. It's relatively healthy. There's really nothing wrong with it. Some people are sensitive to it. I know people that have said that it gives them headaches, but otherwise it's kind of one of those. It's kind of like soy. Soy's healthy, but some people are sensitive to soy. So it's just kind of one of those things. But it's a really good flavoring thing. So we're going to go ahead and add that chicken style seasoning along with some onion powder. And let's see, our gravy. Yes, onion powder and salt. And we're going to add some water. We're going to blend that. And there's amounts on your recipe sheet, but we're just mainly wanting to get a gravy consistency. So if you like a thicker gravy, go with less water. The less liquid you have in here, the better those seeds are going to grind up creamy. So you want to wait and add all of your liquid after you get it nice and creamy. And I'm just going to there's some seeds there that went up on the side, so I'm just going to push those down. How are those coming? They coming okay? They don't need to be totally. Are they really soft? Like really liquidy? Looks like they're kind of liquidy. That's okay. We'll just put them under some heat, a little bit of heat. And if you want to just kind of keep an eye on them. The great thing about a Vitamix, and even I think a Blendtec as well, does your Blendtec heat? Mm-hmm. Okay, you can heat this up. So if you wanted to steam your cauliflower ahead of time and just throw it in, you know, before you eat and just heat it up through here, you could do that. Works really well. Okay, that looks like a pretty good consistency. And so we're just gonna go for a little bit longer on that, make sure we've got it nice and warm, nice and hot. We probably don't even need to heat that up. We've still got to do our cream for our pie. So I was just trying to think, well, we could put that in. Oh, you know what? We'll do it in this one. This one's actually mine.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's okay. We're just going to go ahead. We'll just go ahead and pour that right back in there. So we've got a nice, that looks like a nice consistency for our gravy. And again, you can add a little bit more liquid if you need to, or not add as much. The original recipe for this, using the chicken style seasoning and blending cashews or seeds of some sort, originally came with cornstarch as a thickener. And then when I discovered the beauty of blending cauliflower, it just works so well. So you don't have to use cornstarch. Which is fine to use, but I don't know, quite frankly. Yeah, I'm going to have to do the cream for the pie, so if you want to watch that, that'd be great. Okay, so we'll just put that on a little heat as well. All right, we'll put our pie together, and we are pretty much once we got that cream made, we'll be ready to go. So we're just going to go ahead and add do you have my green spatula?
Yeah.
You wash it about 10 times, right?
I'm going to watch it tonight.
Thank you. So we'll just empty this into here. By the way, as you can see, we've got camera people here tonight recording the class. I put my class videos on my YouTube channel. It's Health for Life Cooking. And so all my past classes, I've even got some holiday classes doing the same thing. They're all out there for you to go home after tonight, and you can watch some more of me if you really want to. And then I also have just kind of started going on Instagram and doing little short clips, video clips, which I'm really liking because I like doing, I've done some home videos as well that's on my YouTube channel, but they take a little bit more work, and I'm really particular about just everything going right. Anyway, the Instagram thing, I can just do a quick little 1-minute thing, and I can edit all the bad stuff out, you know. And it's been really fun. I really like it. So if you're on Instagram, be sure, and it's Health for Life Cooking. I did this pie actually on there, and I hope to be doing some other stuff in the future. So, and I'm also on Facebook too, Health for Life Cooking. I haven't been very active on that, but I'm trying to be more active and post recipes and stuff. But this is not my full-time gig. I have a full-time job, so.
What's your full-time job?
I manage the central receiving here on campus.
Oh.
Been doing that for 24 years. And
Just about has it figured out.
I really like it. What do you mean just about?
She's amazing.
It's a fun job. I like it. I like working here. All right, so we're just spreading that around, and we're going to put this back in the oven, 300 degrees again, for 20 minutes. And then it's, this pie, I am done with that.
I turned it off.
Oh,
I'm sorry, turn the oven off.
oh, yeah, we want the bottom oven for that. That's okay. You know what? The only thing that we're doing with this pie, there's no eggs in here or any kind of thing that has to be cooked. Technically, you could put this in the fridge. It would probably set up fairly good because it's got the dates, and that helps to thicken. But I do like to condense the flavor a little bit and make it a little more dense. So I put this in 320 minutes, and then I turn the oven off. And it says 40 minutes probably on your recipe, which you can do that as well. That makes it even more dense. What I have found, and I was going to change that, but what I have found is turning off the oven at 20 minutes and then letting it stay in there another 20 minutes is about perfect. Again, you can pull it out after 20 minutes. You could leave it in there even longer. This one that we're serving tonight, it was actually in there. I turned it off at 20, was going to leave it in 20, and I kind of forgot about it. That's the beauty of having the oven off. Is if you forget about it, it's not a big deal. It actually makes it even better, but it makes it more dense and more, you could probably, we'll serve this, you can probably just take it with your hand and eat it, which is great as well. It's very rich and just very dense. So,
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you say 300?
300 for the bottom, yeah.
Oh, great.
That's
It's
about
warming
right.
up.
Perfect. So, and again, it doesn't really matter how long. 300 is not going to burn it. 300 will get it a little bit brown if you leave it in too long, with the oven on, of course. Okay, so let's do our cream really quick, and then we are going to be ready to roll. Okay, so our cream, I couldn't decide which potato to use. I'm so undecisive, it's terrible. Oh, you know what? Actually, we're going to try something different. I hope I don't mess this up, because this is so hard to work with without that tamper. I brought my little mini Cuisinart. So we're going to try it with this, because it doesn't make a ton. So we're going to try it with this and see how it works. So I've got an old whipped cream recipe that's dates and cashews and water, which is really good. And you can actually turn that into ice cream. Technically, you can turn this into ice cream as well. But here, we're going to get this thing out of the way, because it's in the way.
Oh, shoot. How's our potatoes doing over here?
Yeah, don't burn my potatoes.
Very little warm, and I'm doing amazing.
Okay. So, but I saw somebody online doing doing a whipped cream with a potato, with a white sweet potato. And I also saw somebody doing with a Japanese sweet potato. And I had both, and I was like, which potato should I use? The Japanese are sweeter, but I kind of like the white potato. And so I thought, you know what, why don't you do both? So I can show you both. So what I've got here is a regular white sweet potato, which you're all very familiar with. And then I've also got here a Japanese sweet potato. This is a half of one, because I'm not even going to need this much, because we only need half. We only need a cup. Is there a red half cup thing around here somewhere? I'm going to need that. So I've got a half a cup of regular white sweet potato.
With the skin or without skin?
Without skin. Yeah, we want to take this.
Because it would look kind of
Yeah,
funny with
we want to take the skin off for this cream, because we're wanting a nice. No half a cupper. You know what? We can. Oh, here's my half a cupper right here. That's a half a cupper. It's not red. It's black, and that's going to be just about perfect. We're gonna. Okay, so we've got a half a cup of our regular white sweet potato. And I wanted to show you what a Japanese sweet potatoes, these are amazing. They're like super sweet. They're a bit expensive. They're my once a week treat on Sunday night with some shredded beets. I love that. But anyway, they're a kind of purple skin on the outside, white flesh on the inside. Again, very sweet. They're a great dessert potato. So we want about a half a cup of that. I'm just going to cut that across right there. What's that? Yeah, this is, I didn't know about them until, well, a few years ago. Natural Grocers got them, and I thought, maybe I should try one of those. And then I've been sold, totally sold on them. So I'm not even going to need to mash that down. I'll just put that in there like this. Okay, so this one's a little bit drier than this potato, and the white potatoes are a little bit dry if you're familiar with the white sweet potato. But these are even a little bit more dry. So the way I cook them is I put them in something. Like what I do is I get a round cake pan, and I have 2 of them. So I put it in the cake pan, and then I put the other one on top, and I bake it like in that. You can get a loaf pan and cover it with tin foil or something like that if you want. You could probably even wrap it in tin foil. I don't really like to cook stuff in tin foil, but and that way it keeps the moisture in, and they're very dense, so they take a little bit longer to cook too. But that's just a good way to cook them. So we're going to go ahead and just put that in here. And then we're going to add some extra sweet to this. We're going to add a little bit of cashews and dates. And the dates have been soaking. In fact, both of these have been soaking in a 1/4 cup of water. You know what? I'm going to grind that up real quick just first to see. So it's not so much going on in there. Oh, lovely. That's working quite nicely, actually. If I can figure out how to get that lid off. Okay, we're going to put the rest of that in there with that moisture, a little bit of moisture, which will help it. Hopefully that'll grind down those cashews okay. And again, I usually do it in the Vitamix, but because not having the tamper really makes that hard, as you saw. Put that over there. Now, of course, with the dates in there, it's going to darken this just a little bit. But when you're dealing with whole foods, you're not getting that pearly white kind of stuff. Just forget about that. Although the potatoes are pretty white. Okay, we're going to help that along just a little bit. And of course, because we want this to be like a cream, we don't want to add too much moisture, although I think we are going to add a little bit of water because it's really thick.
Did you add the vanilla?
I haven't. Good idea. I need vanilla.
You guessing, or you want to measure and spoon?
I'm going to guess. Much better. What's called eyeball? Eyeball it. Okay, we'll go even more, a little bit moisture on that. I just have a hard time with that lid. That's feeling a little bit better. Yeah, the gal that I saw, she had a recipe for ice cream, vanilla, like a vanilla ice cream made with, although it's probably more of a coconut ice cream, made with Japanese sweet potato and coconut milk and some vanilla and I think maple syrup for the sweetener. So yeah, these you can do a lot with those dessert things with Japanese sweet potatoes. Gravy's boiling. that is good enough. I think we'll go one more on that. There we go. Okay, that might be a little bit thicker than whipped cream, but we're just going to go with it, and I think it'll be good. Okay, so there's our cream for our pie, and we got our potatoes.